All right, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live tea and chat, sponsored by Green Tea. Not really sponsored, but I'm in the mood for green tea today. So today we're going to be talking about manipulation. We're going to be talking about why people manipulate and why people stay in the pattern of or keep in the pattern of being manipulated. And we're going to be talking about how to recognize manipulation both when you're manipulating and when you're being manipulated. And if you're watching, then say hello, leave a like, all that good stuff. And yeah, as usual, if you have any questions, any comments, feel free to post, even if you're watching the replay, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So let's go ahead and jump in. First of all, I'd like to talk about why people manipulate. And the first point that I'd like to make is that in my observations, pretty much everybody manipulates. It can be obvious or it can be very subtle. Basically, you're going to manipulate if you're attached to any kind of outcome. If you want the situation to be a certain way, if you want a person in your life to behave towards you in a certain way, then you will be manipulating the situation. So it's very rare that a person out there won't manipulate sometimes. Yeah, hearing this perspective, what does that do to you? How do you feel about that? Post in the comments. So, what keeps us in manipulation? Basically, anything that ties us to the pattern of energy. So this could be things like anger. If you recognize that you're being manipulated, it can be very understandable to feel anger. And if you hold on to that anger, then that can keep you in that pattern because you are basically becoming the victim. So that's another thing, victimhood, which can keep us in that pattern of being manipulated. You essentially propagate the polarity of manipulator and manipulatee by being in that pattern. And of course, these are things that are understandable, but we want to bring them up and work them through. So we can see this example in the last 2 years, and you probably know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to name the situation, but it's been alive in everybody's world for about the last 2 years. We can see how governments, politicians are, and not just politicians, but regular people as well, try to manipulate in order to get people to do things based on things like fear. And understandably, there's been a reaction by many people of anger, and that's completely okay. However, if these people stay in this pattern of victimhood and anger, then it just propagates the energy. Yeah, let me know if you've noticed that too. So now we're going to talk about how to recognize manipulation. So first of all, how to recognize it in yourself. Like I said, we all do it from time to time if we're attached to a particular outcome in the situation. So how to recognize it in yourself? It's basically going to be any situation where you feel yourself getting tight, where you feel yourself needing an outcome, where you feel fear, anger, any of those what we call negative emotions, jealousy, these kind of things. They're going to lead most of the time to some kind of manipulation if we don't deal with them in a conscious way. And this can happen very, very subtly. So it does take some awareness. It takes awareness of our bodies, how they react to certain situations. It takes awareness of our emotions, of our thought patterns. One example, I sometimes have to be quite careful because I'm quite good at articulating my truth. And then I have to be careful that I don't make this sound like the truth, that I still leave room for other people's truths as well. So that's a really big one, for example. So that's basically how to recognize when you're manipulating. It's really, as with many things, just comes down to awareness of how your body, how your emotions and mind are reacting to the situation. And how you're communicating your feelings. So how can you recognize when you're being manipulated? So a very common symptom is a level of confusion. When you're being manipulated, very often there'll be different perspectives that get presented, and very often they can change very quickly, and therefore you're left in this kind of state of, well, where on earth do I stand in this now? Especially for those people who are very sensitive, who have high empathic qualities, who are easily drawn into other people's realities. So confusion is really one of the main symptoms to look out for. Also, a sense that something's not right. It's something doesn't fit. It's like it can be a very subtle feeling, and it's just something that comes up sometimes in interactions, and it can be linked to confusion. But if you can recognize it, it's a really, really good indicator that something's going on, like some kind of manipulation. Look out for changes in opinion or perspective, like a change in your opinion or perspective. This can be quite a grey area because obviously in certain situations and circumstances it's actually quite healthy to be open to a change in perspective. But sometimes it's not such a good thing. And the way to tell the difference, again, is to look for that tightness, look for those emotions. If you feel that you're changing your perspective based on fear, anger, guilt, these kind of things, then that can be an indication that you're being manipulated. Another one is a sense of obligation. If you feel like you're obligated to do something, if you feel guilt, if you don't meet another person's needs or please them in a certain way can be an indication that you're being manipulated. Of course, there are two sides to all these stories. Yeah, so these patterns can come up even if there's not that much manipulation going on. We have to remember that our reality is a reflection of our inner being. So if you already have this pattern of people pleasing, feeling guilt, feeling obligation to keep the harmony in a situation, then that's something that you'll need to work on yourself, to take responsibility for. And that is a pattern that can leave you very open to being manipulated by others. So that's basically it in a nutshell. 11:11 according to my time. So we're all in the flow here, and it's been a short one today. I'm feeling pretty exhausted from the last days, weeks, and I wanted to give you all the main points of how to recognize manipulation. If you feel that you need extra help with this, then book a session with me. We do a session and story. So what we do is go through everything that's coming up in your life. We'll dig deep into the energetic reason, the deeper source reason why these patterns are there, and we'll try to work that through and make that more aligned. And then I'll go away and write a story. It's going to be a story based on what we talk about in the session, and I have a character he's like a guardian angel kind of character who gives a bit of perspective on things as well. And people find it very useful because they have something that they can read after the session, and it helps people to really digest what we've talked about, for it to stay in their minds as they go forward. So yeah, if you feel like that would be useful for you, then go ahead and visit the website, or maybe I'll post a link in the comments when we're done, and book a session. All right, so there will be another live in 2 weeks' time. Yes, and there I'll be going a little bit more deeply into how we can actually express ourselves to avoid manipulation. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and peace, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.